Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Hands on SAP Dev with me, DJ Q Macro, here again, Friday. Oh my goodness me. So I've got to say, I was panicking a bit because I was like working away and what's going on here and blah, blah, blah. And I was talking to my good friend David Kuntz earlier this morning, around sort of, 6:30 my time this morning. I had a bit of a brain freeze and he helped me out. It was awesome. Anyway, and all of a sudden it was like 7:30. It's like, what? Half an hour before this show starts. And I was panicking because I hadn't had a shower yet. It's like, shower, coffee, oh. So here we are. And welcome everybody. Thank you all so much for joining. Who have we got on? Good morning to Visas in Thailand. Welcome back, Visas. And good morning, Nico. And Lucas. Good morning to you in Poland, and good afternoon, Ajay. Nice to see you again. Glad you're feeling better. And Louise, good morning. It's a pleasure to be here. Another Friday dev session and a heart. Excellent, good start. Yaloch, is it Jaloch or Yaloch? Let me know in the comments if I should pronounce the J as a hard J or a soft J. Good morning to you in Kenya. Ofunkilu, buenos dias, and Chirag. Hello, aus Altenkirchen. Hello, yes, hello to you too as well. And Daniel Schlachter in the house, my goodness me. Ashok, good morning to you in Belgium again. And let's go, DJ, says Tom. Good morning, everyone. Okay, let's go, DJ. Perfect. So, yeah, let's get started. I generally sort of talk a little bit too much at the start, but, yes, it's okay. We're all family here. So, yeah, let me switch to the main scene because I've got a couple of things to share. Of course, as always, I have my coffee in my, I had it the right way around at the start. Hands on SAP Dev mug, auth at 8 AM, excellent. Second coffee of the day, really, but. So we got SAP Developer News this week. All the news that is fit to print. No, I don't want to paste it in there. I want to paste it into there. Thank you very much. Let's Control-C that. Very good. MTS, good morning. And Christoph, good morning to you. And good morning to everybody. So there's the latest SAP Developer News. And one of the items in SAP Developer News is a pointer to this month, if you didn't know it already, February Developer Challenge, being run this time by our fearless leader, Tom Young, and we're already in week 2. So check out, oh my goodness, I clicked on one of those links with marketing stuff in. I'm going to get rid of that before I share it. So we've got here the link to week 2, and the Developer Challenge this week is all about CAP, and specifically CAP plugins. So check it. Oh, no, what am I doing? Not in there. There, Stefano, buongiorno. Welcome and yes, welcome. And we'll be probably looking at the Capire documentation maybe a little bit later. Let's clear the screen because that's really annoying me now. There we go, fine. In fact, let's put the time on. There we go. Good. So that's that. This is really cool. This week the plugin challenge is all about exploring the GraphQL plugin. Very controversial and interesting and wonderful. By the way, that reminds me, if you want to catch up with all these different back issues, I don't know even the word is, you can check out the playlist. Good morning, Kate in Wales. Oh my goodness me, in Wales. Tell me whereabouts in Wales roughly are you? I've got some family in Wales. And friends in Wales, yeah. And I may be going later on this year down the Llangollen canal. And Harendra, good morning to you as well. So that reminds me as well. We had a comment. I had a comment. I saw that yesterday. I only saw it yesterday, so sorry, Ramready. There was a comment. Blah 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 blah. I was executing these exercises in Business Application Studio, but some commands. Let me just make that a little bit bigger. But some commands like tree code are not recognized. Do I need to add any package? For your information, I already have design time and runtime at SAP CDS star package installed. Now, that was a great question. I just want to cover this very briefly. While the Business Application Studio dev spaces and VS Code are very similar in that they are both based upon the same sort of, core code OSS, which is, the open source version of VS Code. There are some, obviously, subtle differences. So what I was doing here, I'd opened, let's say I want to open, I'm in the terminal because I like the terminal, and I want to open a file, it's maybe the package.json. So I can say code package.json and it will open it in that current column there, which is really cool. That's what I did one of the previous videos. And Ramready was asking, why doesn't this work in Baz, basically? Because it's, Baz is a slightly different implementation of VS Code, and there isn't anything. There isn't the code command. However, there is something which I'll show you shortly. But also, I think folks have seen me use the tree command just to show a nice sort of graphical depiction of the files and folders, files and directories where I am right now, for example, which is a great command. It's a standard Unix command, but it's not available everywhere, including I think the default type of dev spaces in Baz. So I wrote a blog post yesterday because why not? Yes, let's leave there. And this blog post, basically, let me share that as well. Oh my goodness me! You're near Brecon Mountain Railway in Merthyr Tydfil. Excellent. Well, welcome everybody. Siddhish, welcome. Dinesh, welcome. Good afternoon to you in India. Stefano says, great because I'm here to capire. I don't know why I do that with my hands, I don't know. Harendra, good morning. So there we go, there's a blog post, and basically have a look at that later, but it'll show you this code thing, and there is, in the Business Application Studio, a Baz CTL, Baz control, and you can open files. Now, I can't work out why it opens files in it opens up a new column here, so I've got an internal, not a ticket, an internal sort of question open at SAP to find out why that happens. Is there anything we can do about it? I was looking last night, too late last night, at the different VS Code commands, VS Code to open, and how to sort of invoke that through the Baz CTL -- command. Haven't quite got there yet, but anyway. But also, I also wrote as to how I got tree working in the Business Application Studio dev spaces. It involves sort of spinning up a container and grabbing the tree binary because it's sort of self-contained and putting it there. So have a look. Have a look. Okay, so that's that, and there we go. Okay, so let's get started. This is where we ended up at the end of last week. And I think we just started diving in to the one of the things, let's use the word thing first of all, one of the things. Oh, hold on. Why I've got, see, I'm supposed to be monitoring live chat, but on my thing here, on my, what's it called, tablet, but there's nothing coming through the live chat. I don't know what's going on. Why is it not coming through? I don't know. So I'll have to keep flipping back. I don't know why it's not working. Let me just put something in there. Blah, blah, blah. Test, enter. Top chat. Oh, top chat. What about live chat? So somebody please type something in now to the live chat. Oh, I'm obviously in the wrong. Yeah, it's not working. I'm in the wrong broadcasting on YouTube. Okay, so I'll have to keep flipping back to here. So remind me to keep flipping back. Anyway, oh well, let's just close this tablet for now. It's useless. There we go. Let's just turn that off. There. Right. Okay. So, in fact, what I will do, I will go, because I need to monitor this, don't I? So, because the chat is the most important. You lot are the most important. So let me go to YouTube. Let me go to Hands on SAP Dev live. Woo. And I can monitor that chat. Hopefully, live chat. Top messages. No, I don't want top messages. I want all messages. There we go. So I can monitor it there. Hopefully this phone will stay live now, and I'll have to sort of put that on silent so I don't hear myself. There we go. I've got it right in front of me there. So somebody please, am I still broadcasting, by the way? Yes, I am. Okay, fine. Somebody please put something in the chat to tell me I'm still here, and so I can see it on there as well. Hello. What is going on? My goodness me. Yes, there we go. I can see myself at least. So anyway. So where we left off, we started looking at a thing inside. Oh, thank you, Visas. Thank you. This is just a test message. It's not just a test message. It is collaboration. Thank you very much indeed, Visas. The Hands on SAP Dev Posse strikes again. Brilliant. Good morning, Martin in Bergen. Brilliant. So we started off looking at a thing. What we had before was this sort of a key ID integer in each of these entity definitions. And we thought, well, that's nice, but we're going to be probably having sort of a mechanical key. Mechanical is not quite the right word, but it doesn't matter. We're going to have a key. Good morning. We're going to have a key for each of our entities normally. Now, and what I did. Yes, okay. And what I did is I removed that key and decorated each of the entities with this. Oh, look at that there. Look at the pop-up with an aspect. Aspect for entities with canonical universal IDs. What the heck does that mean? Why don't we actually follow the link to the documentation? Let's put that on page. Let's get rid of that there. Look at this aspect managed aspect CUID. Now, if you look in the, let me just put that without the document fragment URL there. Good morning, Suede, or is that DWS? Everything is fine. Thank you. Everything is working fine, says Suede. Thank you very much indeed. Greetings to you in Germany. So if you check out the Capita documentation, you will see lots of information, which we're not going to go through in detail now, but lots of information on SAP CDS Common. There are aspects and there are types. There are also codeless as well, localized data. We'll play around with that a little bit maybe in a future episode. But basically, this gives us the ability to use reusable, common, clues in the name, types, as in, rather than string or integer, we can have more precise types, and also aspects that do more than just define what a particular property is. And the way you use aspects is that you sort of decorate, this is my word, I can't think what the word is, you decorate an entity type at the sort of declaration part with a colon, and then you use that aspect. And we saw, didn't we? In fact, let's go back to here. What we saw, if we have a look at the metadata, let's start CDS watch, our favorite at the moment CDS command. If we have a look at the metadata, we will see that even though we haven't defined an ID property for either of the books or authors entity types, we have in our entity container the two entity sets, and then we got the entity type definitions, and we can see we've got this. Let me just highlight it from there and go upwards like that. There we have that bit, and we also have, of course, a similar sort of thing for authors. We have that bit, and let's just stare at that for a second. I'll make that one bigger. Stare at that for a second. What we have is a property sort of automatically in there for us. The name by default is ID. Makes sense, right? The type is a GUID type. Okay, there's a standard OData V4 GUID type, EDM entity data model. That's part of OData V4 GUID type, which is like this 16 character thing, which we'll look at in a minute. Nullable equals false and everything. And what we also have is this key definition to say these are the keys of this entity type, and it's referring to the ID property, right? In the same there. Okay. So what we've done is we've gone from being explicit and being not very dry, remember we talked about dry last week, to something a little bit neater, right? Now, let's just explore a little bit more what else there is, okay? I mean, maybe we'll take these away again, but there's another really common, again, keyword common, requirement to have for any given record, for any given entity type, information about, when it was created, when it was changed, who created it, who changed it. And rather than for every single entity that you want to have this definition for, rather than specify like two pairs of properties, created by, modified by, you can just decorate the entity with this aspect that's called managed. Managed is also inside the SAP CDS Common library of things. Oh, Yellow says, I've encountered a challenge with using units of measure. Are they included in SAP CDS Common package? Measure? They're not, I don't think, unless Daniel can chip in here that I don't think, oops, units, yeah, I don't think they are. Countries, oh, we got them here. Country, currency, language, but they're not provided in the common thing. I think some people have defined their own libraries for units of measure, but they're not in the SAP CDS common. Okay, is that okay? Daniel, if there are any other insights that you can share, or anybody's using units of measure, put it in the chat. We're all here to learn from each other. Okay, so why don't we have a why don't we have a look at what this does first of all? If we let's just decorate just the books one. So managed. Now, of course, I'm going to get an error. Underline there. What does it say there? No artifact has been found with the name managed. Again, what we said last week was, you know, there are so many errors that we encounter, but all the errors are beautiful because they just help us progress and learn, right? Okay, Daniel, thank you for confirming there's no units of measure. Maybe that's, I don't know, maybe that's sort of going down a path that is just slightly too involved, too complex, too potentially unglobal. What a crazy word to use. I don't know. So I can't find what managed is, but of course it's in here. So all we have to do is, oh, I wonder if, hold on, let's do that. Managed, oh, no quick fixes. Okay, I was wondering whether it could have inserted this already for us, but anyway, managed. There are some cool things like that you can do. So if we now import not only CUID, but also managed, now what happens when we save this? Okay, server restarts, of course, but now check out, let me refresh the metadata URL. What have we got? A bit of an explosion of beauty. Check it out. Of course, we don't have, where's the, oh, there's the authors. There's the author's entity type. There, tiny little thing now, you know, nice and innocent. But now we have the bookshop, the books entity type, which is a little bit fatter now because we've got these 4 extra properties for free alongside the other extra ID property that came for free, all defined for us. Not only that, but I think I'm wondering if it's in the documentation or aspects. Oh, yes. Wait a minute. Where is it? Managed here. Look at this. We have also so the definition of this managed aspects. In fact, let's have a look. Let's have a look what it looks like. Let's click on that and look for managed. Check it out. So let's get rid of that thing for a second. Check it out. Look at that. So it's like turtles all the way down, CDS all the way down. So we're decorating our entity type books with an aspect called managed, which is defined as an aspect using the CDS language, and it's got properties, right? Created by blah, 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 blah. And it's got types, timestamp, yep. And then we are annotating, not decorating, annotating these properties with special cap or CDS annotations. We've also got, and I also saw this in the documentation, I'm sure I saw it somewhere. I'm sure you can find it somewhere. But what's important here is this green bit. Modified at and modified by are set whenever the respective row is modified. That means also during create operations. Okay, so it's just fantastic. It's just like so rich. So let's go back here, right? So we can understand now that, oh yeah, that's right, that's what I was going to show you, metadata. That's why we get also these annotations, right? These are sort of annotated elsewhere as well, but we get these, where these annotations are coming from. This is a computed default value. For example, it's a hidden filter, it's immutable, it's computed, it's got a description, etc. Oh, that's the created by, yeah, okay. So these all come from, you know, down the turtle hole. Anyway, so we could descend into there. However, what I want to show you is, let's go back here. When we look at authors, we get the data that we put in before. There's our bookshop's authors, right? Let's get rid of that for a second. But when we look at, we've got the books here, and all we've got so far is ID and title, 1, 2, 3. Okay, which we'll have to change. May have to change shortly, for reasons that we'll come to shortly. But if we have a look at this, what are we going to get for books? Let me know. Let me know in the chat what you think. In fact, don't let me know. Yeah, you can let me know, of course, but I'm going to click it now anyway, so I just need to give you more time, don't I? Books. Look at that. Look at that. So we get the properties that we've created explicitly and defined explicitly, but we also get this ID property, which maps, of course, to the ID from the CSV file, right? And we also get the created at and the modified at and the created by and then modified by. Of course, at the moment, because I've not specified anything else, the data is being loaded and it's not being loaded in the context of any given user. Therefore, the created by and the modified by, remember what that green thing says, has a same value. Now, what we did last week, by the way, how's the thing going? There we go. Yeah, okay, I'm still online. I just got this feeling that my internet connection last night was really bad with the storms. So I just got this feeling that, I'm just talking to the void. So what was I going to say? What we did at the end of last time, what we did was halfway through moving from an explicit key ID to this CUID. Let's get rid of, well, actually, we'll leave those there. Let's get rid of that, okay? And then when we save that, right, we got an error, didn't we? Let's just have a look at that in greater detail. We got an error. That's what we got at the end of last week. And I said, let's have a look into that. What is going on? Okay, can anybody tell me? I think what's going on. Well, let's take a breath and slow down, DJ, and have a coffee. Let me know in the chat what's going on. While we have a look what's going on, let's just move that over there to see. Again, what we learn from CAP is that it tells us everything we need to know when things go wrong. So SQLite error. So obviously something to do with loading data. And remember, we are in the context CDS watch -- help. We are in the context of CDS serve all with mocks in memory. So if we say CDS serve help in memory, automatically adds a transient in-memory database bootstrapped on each restart in the same way that CDS deploy would do, okay? Requires a SQLite driver to be installed, whatever, okay, fine. Now, and also, here we go, add a question mark to apply a more defensive variant which respects the configured database, if there is any. Okay, so if you do have a SQLite database, like, banana.db file, it'll use that. But if not, it will use an in-memory database. So this error is occurring in relation to SQLite. And basically when we start up, it'll do a CDS deploy of whatever files it finds. Look here, it's found this init from data bookshop books.csv. It hasn't even got to the, I found a data bookshop author CSV yet. It goes, I'm going to start loading this data. Bang! Because, and again, this is obvious, but let's just think about this for a second. Because it says table bookshop _ books, bookshop _ books, we'll have a look what that is in a minute, has no column named ID in this SQL that I'm trying to execute. Insert into bookshop _ books ID title. Okay, and this is this bit here is going to get the data from the CSV, right? So what I want to have a look with you at is what bookshop _ books. Now we can sort of figure out why the two components exist. Bookshop is this sort of namespace or service context within which we have the books entity type, right? Bookshop books. And we can see that in bookshop -books.csv, or in fact, I think we can also have, I think we did this last week, didn't we? Bookshop, move data bookshop books to data bookshop.books.csv. That's also I think within the bounds of convention. Okay, so it's found it, look, in it from bookshop.books. So we can have .books instead of dash box. So let's leave that because we're feeling random here. So let's have a look where this table name is. Can anybody give me an idea of where that might be? You're all very quiet on the chat today. Is it me? Am I going in the wrong direction? Am I, are you still there? Are we still connected? Oh my goodness me! It's such a weird thing to be talking away into the camera. Hello, but there's no chat. Yeah, so I'm going to pause for a second and put in the chat what you think. Put in the chat how we might find out, how we might see the table name Bookshop Books. And while you think about that, let me just have a look here to see if I could find this dollar now somewhere else. Now, dollar now. I'm sure. Oh, there we go. What was it? I'm sure there was somewhere else I found the dollar now. But anyway, okay. Oh, look at that there. Oh, there it is. There it is. There. Crazy equals now. Okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna press on. I'm going to press on with sort of not revealing, but revealing to ourselves where we might see this with a new cap command. So let's see, CDS. Okay, we can do all these different things. We've played around with CDS init, with add, and with serve, and with watch. Also, implicitly, indirectly, we're doing some mocking as well. Dash with mocks. We're actually not mocking anything because there's nothing to mock. However, we'll come to that. We've looked at CDS env. But what about CDS compile? Compile CDS model to different outputs. Now, CDS compile. You must specify a model to compile. Okay, so let's have a look at some help. Dash help or dash question mark. Check out all of the details here. Oh my goodness me. CDS compile is so important and so rich in capability. Oh, Kiara, hi all. Sorry for delay. Don't worry, Kiara, welcome. You are always welcome anytime. Everybody's always welcome. So like I said to Phil last week, a late arrival is a bit, stylish. I'm just arriving here, everybody. Thank you very much. I see. Thank you for saying hi as well, Kiara, and welcome. So if we say CDS compile, we saw that we said, well, we need to give me a model, and a model is basically, something. So let's give it services.cds, okay? And what do we get? We get this weird JSON-like thing. I mean, in fact, again, I think we mentioned this in a previous episode. I reckon, I don't know, but I reckon if we pipe that into JQ will format it nicely. So JQ will recognize it and correctly parse it, or be able to parse it as real JSON, because it is real JSON if you pipe it into something. But if you're displaying it and looking at it in the terminal as a human, it will give us a slightly less noisy JSON-ish flavor. Good morning, John Murray in the house. Daniel, weird, beautiful. Did I say weird? I can't remember what I said weird about, but when I say weird, I do mean beautiful. So, I see. Maybe did I refer to this as weird? This is season. Okay, this is beautiful, right? And it's the machine readable. It's almost like, is it fair to say that we could think of this as like the abstract syntax tree for our models? Okay, this is the AST. In fact, let's go here. Abstract syntax tree. Let's just have a look. Abstract syntax tree is a data structure used in computer science to represent the structure of a program or code snippet. Abstract syntax tree in the house. There we go. Let's put that there in the chat because ASTs are amazing. Anyway, oh, that was me. I thought I was in the chat there, but it's from me. However, what we want to do is say CDS compile to something. In fact, let's just do that help again and see what we can compile to. There we go. You know what? This is my favorite cap. This is so cap. This is so quirky, I think. The shorthand for --2, which is pretty short, is -2. I mean, chef's kiss for the the guts to do something as cool and odd as that. I just love it. Okay, I think it's very cap. I love it. So you can also compile to different target formats, to JSON, to EDMX. Check it out. If we do this, CDS compile to EDMX services.json CDS. Check it out. Check it out. Now, oh my goodness. So I think I said in the description, we're going to start looking at associations today. We might even get to associations, but let me know if it's okay to just continue exploring this, and also what I wanted to show you as well, because one of the things I've been doing in the last 4 episodes is just in the browser, you know, going, you know, localhost 4004, this, that, the other, bang, 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 bang. Now, in the browser, what I've been doing are, apart from when I request the, in fact, let's do it now. If I do this, let's go here. You know, we've got this little, you know, oh, I'm not reading CDS, CDS watch there. I can't run CDS watch. But in the browser, basically, because it's, you know, in the browser, I've just been looking at the metadata, I've been looking at the service document, and I've been looking at entity sets. So I've been making OData query operations. That's all I've been doing. And the HTTP method I've been using for each of these, implicit in, you know, putting something in a browser tab and pressing enter, is get. What I want to show you before we move on is that this is not like a one-trick pony. What we are getting here with the minimum work required is a fully fledged OData V4 service that supports, out of the box, with us doing nothing at all, get, put, post, delete, in other words, OData query, read, create, update, and delete operations. So let's maybe do a bit of that. Shall we do a bit of that? Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the chat. But here we go. So what did I do there? I can't remember. Oh yes, here we go. So CDS compile to EDMX. So already recognize this. It's giving us the metadata, the EDMX metadata for the model, lowercase m, that's in services.json. But also beautifully right now, look at the warnings down there. Services.cds, line 4, column 10. Can we, yeah, click on that. Look at that there. Click on that and go straight to the word books. That's pretty cool. I guess because the output from CAP is an error message that has a format that is file name :line :column, that will be nicely and sort of in a really collaborative way interpreted here by VS Code to allow me to jump straight to there. So it's telling us in this books entity definition, I, the CDS compiler, expected the entity to have a primary key. Same thing for the author's entity, because at the moment we don't have any. We've removed the aspect decoration CUID, and we've also removed the key ID, so it hasn't got a primary key. So this is also part of the clue as to why we got that error. Now, if we were, let's do that instead. Actually, no, tell you what, let me move, how do I do it? Move that there. Move that there. Terminal, can I move the terminal up there? Yes, I can. And then get rid of that. Oh, look at that. There we go. So, there. Now, I'll leave my head up there for now. Let me know if it gets in the way. CDS compile to SQL. Now, let me know in the chat. You're all very quiet in the chat. I'm gonna pick on John Murray because he joined a little bit late, which is, there's nothing wrong with that. But John Murray, good old friend John Murray, and we were talking on LinkedIn after that episode about the culture series from E&M Banks. So John, put in the chat why this is super. Why do you think this is super cool? Compiling to SQL. What is relevant here? Now, what do we get? We get DDL, Data Definition Language. Is that what it stands for? DDL, Data Definition Language? I think it is. Let's have a look. DDL, Data Definition Language. Right, there we go. Oh, look at that classic IBM reference there. Let's put that there. Data Definition Language in the chat. Perfect. Now, when we deploy. Remember with CDS watch, remember when we do a CDS watch, it's in the sort of deploy stage that this issue comes up. So it's trying to deploy to a database. And given that Wildcat is generally as protocol agnostic as possible and database or persistence layer agnostic as possible, supporting SQLite and Postgres and HANA and all the different possibilities, right? At the end of the day, we're going to be using SQLite specifically, so it's going to compile to SQL. So internally, effectively, hi Ruben and welcome. Effectively, it's going to compile to SQL. And this is what it gets in the compilation. CDS compiled to SQL. So that's what's happening internally. And look at the DDL, create table bookshop_books. And there's only one property in there. Title, nvarchar 255. That comes straight from their title string. So when we run CDS watch, well, in fact, let's just scroll up there, CDS watch, insert into bookshops ID title, there's no ID there. Because, if let's put that back, key ID integer, for example, let's save that and then run CDS watch again. Now, we get further. It doesn't look like it, but we get further because we have the data bookshop books. But then it says, okay, I've loaded the bookshop books, but now then it goes to the authors and go bang, same thing. So let's just add that there as well. Put that back in, save that, reload, and we're all fine. It's doing the CDS deploy. Does that make sense? Let me know in the chat if that makes sense. Now, actually, while we're here, let's just talk. What time is it? 8:30. Why don't we talk about the fact that actually we get a fully fledged OData service before we move on, right? Yes, there we go. So let's go back and refresh. So we have books and we have authors. It's all good. But what I've been doing there is a series of OData query operations. Okay. I can also, for example, John, thank you, John. I think it's awesome that we can see easily what it's creating under the hood. Apologies if I've missed the mark on any question. You have hit the mark right in the bullseye on the question. Thank you, John. Exactly. Everything is, and it's a really good point that you make. Everything is there for us to look at what is going on behind the curtain. Yeah. CD says if we change the sequence, I can't. There's a heart in the way. I don't know what the heart's doing there. If we change the sequence, let me read it there. Of field in data file, then will it work without giving the key? So, you know what? You know what the answer is? Let's try it. So let's get rid of that again. Let's go here. So are you saying, for example, here, move that to there? Is that what you're saying, for example? Or are you saying something else, Yadish? So basically, it doesn't really matter. Let's do a CDS compile to SQL. Because of the, I suppose in the same way, if we compile to EDMX, right, we get just because why not, the entity type definitions, there's books, and then there's authors, right? Books, we've got title first, then the ID, and then authors, we've got ID, then name. And we can see that reflected here, and why wouldn't it be, right? We have ID and name, and sort of independent, sort of abstracted from that, we get a definition somewhere else, and normally in EDMX, it comes at the top of an entity type definition, the key element, and then the one or more properties that are the key properties, highlighted here, key, are referenced here, property ref, not property, but property ref. So it doesn't matter. And in the same way, and here, books, for example, look at that. We get title, then ID, title, then ID, but it doesn't matter because, again, the specification of which property or properties are the key, is sort of independent of this list of properties. So there. So we get key, property ID. So it doesn't matter, you know, it's sort of, it's all spread out over the floor, but with enough metadata to work. Does that make sense? But also, if we have a look at the SQL equivalent of that, it's the same thing, right? Look at that. Create table bookshop books. We've got title first, then ID. Title first, then ID. And then independently of those two properties, we get the DDL statement that says, oi, the primary key for this table is the property called ID. And in the same way, we get here for the authors, where we get ID defined first and then name, we get ID first, then name, and then, oi, the primary key is ID. Does that make sense? Is that, have I completely misunderstood your question, Siddhish? Let me know. Oh, without giving the key. Oh, well, let's have a look. Let's have a look. Let's do the without giving a key as well. Let's do one without giving the key. Let's see what happens. There. CS compiled SQL services. Of course, we get the same thing, but without this primary key brackets ID there, right? And if we do it to EDMX, let's have a look. We get entity type books, right? Name, title, ID. There we go. But what we do get is this warning: expected entity to have a primary key. So basically, the fact that we don't have any properties with the prefix key, with the prefix keyword key prepended, gives us this warning. Okay. So John Murray says, unrelated to CAP, but my most used VS Code keyboard shortcut is options up and down to move the current line up or down without having to copy paste. Ah, yes. Although if you're using the VI shortcuts extension, that might be overriding. Yes, I am. John, you know me well. I'm using one of my favorite the extension that makes VS Code usable for me is, where is it? No, it's not in the dev container. It's I don't know. Vim emulation. Yeah. So in fact, I can go DD or undo, whatever, you know, Vim. Capital G, GG, up to the top, down to the bottom, capital G, etc. Whatever. But yeah, that's really cool. So Siddhish, let me know if that sort of answers or partially answers your question. But these are great questions because we get to explore and we get to experiment and see what happens. Now, it's 8:43. Let's put this. Let's undo that, and let's undo that and put that there. Right, perfect. So now. Yes, okay, what we want to do is, let's just compile the SQL. Now we understand where that comes from. And if we were to deploy, we're going to do the deploying into an actual SQLite database, you know, in a subsequent episode, when I stop talking. That's the thing that is used to instantiate, to create the artifacts in the persistence layer. This is the DDL, right? Imtiaz, so the columns ordering is not important in DB data while mocking the data. It should load the data if we have the same column name as we have in our entity. Yes. See, this is brilliant. This is brilliant, Imtiaz. We're doing something that's so simple, but we're also discovering things together. Perfect. Yes. So AP in Dusseldorf. Good morning, AP. By the way, we experienced that changing the field sequence has no effect on generated. I can't read that one. What is that? How do you get rid of this heart thing in the bottom right-hand corner of the chat? I don't know. We experience that changing the field sequence has no effect on generated table on the HANA side. However, the change field sequence is reflected on the generated HANA view. Yes. Now we're going to get to views. That's a great point. That's a great point. We're going to get to views later on. Well, in fact, here's a question for you. Here's a question for you to think about and answer in the chat or answer next time. At the moment, deliberately, we have this really nice service, beautifully self-contained with two entities in that service, books and authors. And eventually we'll also build a relationship between the books and the authors with an association. Okay. However, if we wanted to define a second service banana, right? And then refer to, maybe expose to a different consumer with different authorization requirements or whatever. But we also wanted to include one or both of the entities that were in the bookshop thing. It gets a little bit sort of complicated because we've sort of bound up the definition of these two entities within this bookshop service, and so they're sort of trapped in there. So how might we resolve that? What would be a better, this is the simplest thing that could possibly work, but let me know in the chat what you think a better practice is, and the clue is in the directories that I deliberately deleted. Let me know in the chat. So Visas said, is ID a magic field name? I found that CAP be able to generate a running number for me even though I didn't provide it in the CSV data file. Now then, that prompt, that's a great question. If we let's have a look. Let's learn by doing, and let's find this out. Okay, so John has sort of by the way, I manually specify key ID in the entity instead of using the CUID aspect. Yeah, you're free to do that if you want. I don't think that's a bad thing at all. CUID is a great helper. CUID is a great facility, but there's no rule that you have to use it. CUID, which we'll discover CUID maybe. Every time I have so much planned to show you and go through, and I never get to any of it. UUIDs, but anyway, okay. Yeah, so John Murray says, if you use the CUID aspect, then behind the scenes it generates a UUID for you. Yes. Now, let's do something. Let's do something. Let's get rid of this extensions thing. Okay, perfect. Now, what we'll do? Why don't we take our time? Let's get rid of that service banana. Save that, and start CDS watch. Okay, and go back to here where we've got. In fact, let's put that back down there again. Is that okay? Is that that's fine, isn't it? Well, I won't try and put that down there again. Now, let me put my head down the bottom. We can refresh, and we get the entity set. So that's OData query operation. We know it works. We can also specify, or we can also perform an OData read operation where we ask for one particular entity set with its key. Now, this is the new but slightly limited way, it's OData V4, slightly limited way of specifying a key with a slash and then the key name. But that's only good if you have a single key and it's simple, right? So we can say, but look, actually, before I do that, before I press enter on this URL, look what we get. We get, within this context, which is within this object, we get the value of the response, which is an array of objects, and each object is an entity, right? So that's an entity set, right? There's the set. Look there. If we say books/1, for example, what do we get? We don't get a value for which the value is an array entity set. We get an entity. So that was a read, right? More conversation, brilliant. Not specifically the CUID aspect. I think this happens with any key of type integer with test data. It can be called different than ID. Exactly. But we're going to come on to that, hopefully. So Kiara says, do we have some sort of restriction if we use ID rather than you? No restriction. What was there any particular restriction you were thinking about, Kiara? Let me know. Where are we? Here we go. So there's an OData read operation. Why don't we try, where should we try it? Let's go back to the entity set. Tell you what, I do have, and I hate doing this, but because of time, I do have this thing, which I sort of saved, come into the Scratch directory and copy test.htp into cat B2B main, there, now. I've got this thing called test. Now, if you have a look in cap B2B in the dev container definition, which has also changed slightly thanks to a contribution from Christian Lechner, I'm still not quite sure whether I like just having a dev container JSON and using the features to install stuff, or whether I prefer having things in a Docker file. But we'll talk about that maybe in a later thing. In here, we've got this REST client. Okay, so that is an extension that's been installed into the dev container, and if you create a file with an HTTP ending, it will give us the ability. I've got to put that down there again. What do I do? I'll tell you what, let's kill that. Let's get rid of that. There we go. And let's go to the terminal there. Oh, how do I move the terminal down there? Oh, there maybe. There we go. There we go. Perfect. It will give us the ability to make calls. So let's just do that. There we go. There. Right. So CDS Watch. Now what this is, and by the way, if you're looking for an example of this, I grabbed from one of our code jams, CAP service integration code jam. I've got some a REST client example in exercise 11. This is where I got it from and modified it this morning. Some down here. Look at the beauty of that ASCII art. Oh my goodness me. Here. So in exercise 11, let's put that in the chat. Not in the there, in the chat. DJ, what are you doing? There we go. Fine. We have this sort of syntax that you can put in a simple text file, and then the REST client in VS Code will interpret that for you and recognize things. So we can click on this send request. So send request, I didn't type in the word send request. That is automatically there because of the REST client. So I can say send request, click that, and it will make the request to the service because it's to localhost 4004, just like I was in the browser, and it will give us the answer. Now, if we wanted, let's get rid of that. If we wanted to show and prove to ourselves that CAP gives us a fully fledged OData service supporting all operations. Oh, here we go. Sorry. I'm thinking about lean drafts. Oh, that's a good question. I read something a long time ago, maybe I misinterpreted. I don't know off the top of my head. I can't swap out this information in my brain to think about that. My brain's too small. I will look into that and we'll talk about that in a future episode. We're going to hopefully be looking at lean drafts and drafts in general. But that's... Let me know in the chat. I'm thinking at the rubbish pace that I'm going, right? Learning by doing, exploring everything. This series might extend well into the summer. Let me know if you're okay with that. You know, just 1 hour on a Friday every week, or as many weeks as possible. Because sometimes I'm away doing code jams or whatever. But let me know if... Oh, thank you, Daniel. Daniel says, with Fury apps and draft mode, UUID is easier than ID. If you create a new entity, you will get a pop-up to provide the key. If it's not a UUID, using UUID, you don't need to care about the key. So I'm hoping, if I stop talking, we'll get to see what happens when we specify a post without an ID. In fact, here it is. Here it is. Right, here we go. Look, post. So this is going to be an OData create operation, okay, with a post. Check it out. So for an OData create operation, we need to use the post HTTP method. The noun, the verb is post. The noun is the entity set URL, books. Okay, so in fact, if we get the slash books, go here, books. If we, let's do an entity set get, there we go. There's 1, 2, 3. Now, if we make a post request to that same entity set URL, we have to specify, being good internet citizens, web citizens, sorry, DJ, the content type of the payload that we are transferring, which is here, after the empty line, you can specify payload. There's the payload. Now, what's missing in that payload? The ID. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. Send request. What did I do? Post the restaurant at the end of the universe. 201 created. Now, if we go back here, send request, follow, how do I click on that? There we go. Check it out. We get a new entity in the entity set. And look what's happened. It's given us a new ID. I didn't specify ID 4, right? The restaurant at the end of the universe. There we go. So, oh, yes, please, please do. Yes, please, yes, please, yes, please. I forgot what the question was. Was it Shall I just keep going on this and we'll just go forever? Well, not forever, but into the summer. Perfect. Harendra, where is these posts? What? Let me leave on thinking. Where is these post and get methods defined? When you say where are they defined, I mean, I'm defining them in this test. So this is the equivalent. Let me open up another terminal. So let's make sure we all understand. Let me open up a new split terminal, bash. I've got curl. Of course we've got curl. I've installed curl because curl, right? There we go. Curl apt-get. There we go. Curl. You can explicitly specify the method with X, but effectively, if we do verbose, we can see what method it uses. Verbose localhost 4004. There. Ooh, what? Curl verbose. Oh, there we go. Yeah, no, look, that was correct. That is the test page. That is our DJ, you're an idiot. That is our welcome to SAP CDS server. There we go. This is an automatically generated page. You can replace it with a custom map, blah, 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 blah. And that was there. You can replace it with a order. So and then we go V4, OData, data, V4, let me put my head up there again. V4, bookshop, books. It's using the HTTP get method because I've not specified it to send any data, so curl will by default use get. But get combined with a URL that represents an entity set is an OData query operation. And we can see that response there. So these are just standard HTTP methods. One of the beautiful things about OData is that it is RESTful. And that means, amongst many other things, that it doesn't abuse the underlying application protocol that is HTTP, which is a protocol that has, a deliberately limited number of verbs: get, put, post, delete, patch, etc., and head, and an infinite number of nouns. And OData operations map onto these verbs, and that's why when we're actually wanting to make OData operations, this is an HTTP client, a REST client. So it doesn't understand, and it doesn't need to understand anything specific about OData operations, create, read, update, delete, and query. We just use the HTTP methods that these different OData operations map onto. Does that make sense, Harendra? I hope I've answered that question. But let's go back to here. Check it out. We've actually made an OData create operation with an HTTP post specifying a payload where the payload is JSON, and we've specified a property, a value, restaurant in the universe, for the title property, but we haven't specified the key property. We could do if we wanted to, but now there we go. Let's have a delete operation. If we go and get the data there, I know I'm also using references. You can actually pull out data from the responses. The REST client is pretty good. I still love curl and curl before anything, but the REST client is pretty good. So have a look at the REST client because you can say, for example, here, I want to get an ID of a book. Okay, ID 1, 2, 3, or 4, right? Let me go and refer to the books query, which is the name I gave to this query. So the response we got from this query is accessible via books query .response in the body, and the value first element 0 there, the ID. So basically I'm asking for the value of this ID, the 0th element in this array of the body of the response to this request. So basically book ID is then 1. In fact, why don't I say value here 2? Right, so this is the third. It's like obviously counting from 0. This is this one, the player of games. So why don't we get that now? There. Oh, sorry. What was going on? Oh, I pressed the wrong thing. Why don't we send a request? The player of games. So we've now asked for. We've made an OData read operation. Oh, it's 9 o'clock. Wait. What? And finally, we can also delete it. Let's do that. Send request, delete, bang. We get 204, no content, beautiful. HTTP is beautiful. Now if we go and get the books, we don't have the player of games anymore. Okay, I can't believe that's 9 o'clock already. let's finish here and let's continue with diving in and learning and poking and asking questions. Please, more questions, more questions, more questions. I'll see you all soon. Bye for now.